Have you ever wondered why remarriage after 70 often leads to more regret than happiness? If you're in your 70s or older and thinking about tying the knot again, this might be the most important video you watch today. At first glance, remarriage can feel like a second chance at love, a new beginning in your golden years. But for many older adults, what starts as companionship can quietly turn into emotional stress, financial trouble, or even legal chaos. This video isn't about fear. It's about wisdom. It's about protecting the life you've worked so hard to build and making sure your next step brings peace, not problems. Let's dive into the 5 truths every senior should consider before saying, I do, again. 1. Financial vulnerability.
When you're over 70, love can feel like a beautiful gift.
You finally meet someone who makes the days feel less lonely, someone to share meals with, laugh with, even walk hand in hand during quiet evenings. It's deeply human to crave that kind of closeness. But here's the hard truth that many older adults discover too late. Remarriage at this stage in life can quickly unravel the financial stability you've spent a lifetime building. Think about what you've earned over the years. Your home, your retirement fund, your savings account, your pension. These aren't just numbers in a bank. They're the results of decades of effort, discipline, and sacrifice.
And the love don't always protect what's yours once you remarry.
Most people assume that marriage won't affect their finances as long as they keep things separate. But in practice, that's often not how it works. Marriage is a legal contract. It can create automatic financial entanglements, even if you never combine your bank accounts. For example, if your new spouse has outstanding debts or large medical bills, creditors may come after shared assets. If they have adult children who expect support, you might feel pressured, legally or emotionally, to contribute. Even if you never intended to share your resources, your financial world may be pulled into theirs. And it's not just debt. Many seniors are shocked to find out that remarriage can change or even cancel their eligibility for critical benefits. Take Social Security survivor benefits, for example. A widow receiving monthly income from her late husband's benefits may lose those payments entirely after remarriage. That could mean hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars less each month, without warning. I've seen this happen to a woman named Louise, age 75. She remarried after several years of widowhood, assuming her late husband's Social Security payments would continue. They didn't. When the checks stopped, her new husband, who had no savings, was unable to help cover their bills. She went from financial comfort to quiet panic in just a few months. Then there's the matter of inheritance. Most seniors want to leave something meaningful behind, whether it's a home, a savings account, or even sentimental belongings. Maybe you've carefully planned your estate so your children or grandchildren receive what you've built. But unless you update your legal documents, and in some states, even that might not be enough, your new spouse could become the default heir to a large portion of your assets. That means your adult children may receive far less than you intended. In some heartbreaking cases, they receive nothing at all. What's worse, this can spark family tension, legal battles, and resentment that lasts for generations. And even if you trust your new partner with all your heart, relationships change. Families clash. People pass away unexpectedly. Without proper legal planning, wills, trusts, prenuptial agreements, you're exposing yourself to risks that no amount of love can protect you from. The emotional toll of unexpected financial loss can be devastating. Seniors who were once independent find themselves afraid to open their bank statements. They avoid telling their children out of embarrassment. They live with quiet anxiety, wondering how they'll afford their medications, their rent, or their groceries next month. This is not how the final chapters of life are meant to be lived. You've earned your security.
You've earned your peace.
You've already spent a lifetime working, saving, and providing. Now is the time to protect what you've built, not gamble it away in the name of companionship. So if someone is pressuring you to remarry, or if you're simply lonely and looking for connection, pause for a moment. Breathe.
And ask yourself,
will this relationship protect my financial health? Do I fully understand the legal and monetary consequences? Have I spoken to a financial advisor or elder law attorney? Because love should never cost you your dignity, your independence, or your legacy. 2. Health responsibility overload. When you remarry in your 70s or beyond, you're not just sharing your time, your home, or even your finances. You're also signing up for something far more demanding. Someone else's health journey. And at this age, health is no longer just a part of life. It is life. It shapes your schedule, your energy, your mood, and your future. Most people over 70 are already managing their own set of challenges. Maybe it's high blood pressure, arthritis, diabetes, or recovering from surgery. And those challenges take real effort. Managing medications, doctor visits, physical therapy, and meal planning can already be a full-time job. Now imagine doubling that effort, because when you bring someone else into your daily life, you're likely to become part of their healthcare team, whether you expect it or not. At first, it might seem manageable. Maybe they just need help remembering to take their medication, or an extra hand getting out of the car. But as time goes on, and it usually does, those needs often grow. What begins as small assistance can quietly evolve into full-blown caregiving. That means scheduling appointments, helping with hygiene, monitoring symptoms, handling insurance paperwork, and dealing with emergencies. Not to mention the emotional labor that comes with watching someone you love decline. And here's the painful truth. Caregiving, especially in later life, can destroy your own health. Studies have shown that older adults who take on caregiving roles for a spouse are more likely to skip their own medical appointments, experience chronic fatigue and sleep problems, suffer from depression or anxiety, have higher rates of heart disease.
Life's shorter lives.
Why? Because caregivers often put themselves last. They ignore their own pain. They stop seeing their friends. They stop doing the things that bring them joy. Take Patricia, for example. She was 76 when she remarried. Her new husband was warm, thoughtful, and charming. They laughed, took walks, shared meals, until he had a minor stroke. What followed was a dramatic shift. Patricia was suddenly helping him bathe, manage physical therapy appointments, and refill medications, while ignoring her own worsening arthritis and blurry vision. Her own health took a back seat. When she finally came into the senior wellness center where I used to volunteer, she was physically depleted and emotionally crushed. "I love him," she whispered, "but I don't recognize myself anymore." This is not an uncommon story. And it doesn't mean love is a mistake. It means caregiving has consequences. It means your energy, your time, and your health are precious resources, and you must guard them wisely. Some older adults feel guilty for even considering this. But what if they need me? They ask. Here's the truth. You can care deeply about someone without being the sole person responsible for their health. You can offer companionship without becoming a nurse. You can love without sacrificing your own wellness. So before you say yes to remarriage, ask yourself some hard but necessary questions. Am I physically and emotionally able to take on someone else's care? What if their health declines suddenly? Do I have a plan for that? Am I prepared to adjust my daily life around their needs, every day? And most importantly, who will take care of me if I burn out? You deserve to enter your later years with peace, energy, and space to breathe. Remarriage may bring companionship, but without clear boundaries, it can also bring a heavy burden you didn't expect. And remember, your health matters, too. Maybe more now than ever before.
3 legal complications.
One of the most underestimated risks of remarriage after 70 isn't emotional or financial. It's legal. Because behind every loving union lies a web of laws that can quietly reshape everything you've carefully planned. Your estate, your rights, your family's future. Most older adults enter remarriage thinking, this is just companionship. It's not about money. It's not about paperwork. But whether or not you think of it that way, the law absolutely does. Let's start with inheritance. Maybe you've spent years, decades even, building a small but meaningful legacy. A home.
A pensión.
A savings account. treasured belongings you plan to pass down to your children or grandchildren. But when you remarry, your new spouse may automatically be entitled to a significant portion of your estate, even if your will says otherwise. In many states and countries, a spouse has legal rights that override written wishes unless very specific legal steps have been taken in advance, like updated wills, trusts, or prenuptial agreements. That means your adult children could receive less than you intended, or, in some heartbreaking cases, be completely cut out of the picture. And even if your new partner is generous and trustworthy, what happens if they pass away first and their assets, including what was once yours, go to their children instead of back to yours? These aren't rare occurrences. They happen every day, and families are often left in pain, not just from grief, but from legal battles that could have been prevented.
Take Carol, for instance.
She was 81 when she remarried a kind man from her church group. They enjoyed simple companionship, meals together, watching old movies, taking walks. She thought she had everything in order. But when Carol fell ill unexpectedly, her new husband had full legal authority over her medical decisions, because they were married. Her adult daughter, who knew her mother's wishes intimately, was legally pushed aside. The disagreement grew into a court case, and the emotional toll tore the family apart. No one expects that to happen. Carol certainly didn't. That brings us to another key point: medical decision-making. Marriage, by default, gives your spouse the power to make healthcare decisions on your behalf if you become incapacitated. If you haven't established a medical power of attorney that designates someone else, like a child or trusted friend, your new spouse becomes the default voice in emergency situations. Is that what you truly want? And let's not forget government benefits. If you're a widow receiving survivor benefits from a deceased spouse, remarriage can terminate those payments in many cases. That monthly income you rely on for your medications, rent, or groceries. It could vanish with one new marriage certificate. And here's something many seniors don't realize. Even if the new marriage ends in divorce, you may not get those benefits back. The legal landscape changes the moment you remarry, and unless you've worked with a qualified elder law attorney, you may be opening doors you didn't even know existed. This is why it's not unromantic to talk about legal matters before remarrying. It's wise. It's protective. It's loving, not just for you, but for your family, your peace of mind, and your legacy.
So before you walk down the aisle again, ask yourself,
have I updated my will to reflect this new relationship? Do I understand how remarriage affects my children's inheritance? Have I clearly designated who should make my medical decisions if I can't? Do I know how this will impact my Social Security, pension, or veterans benefits? Because at this stage in life, you don't need complications. You need clarity. And clarity only comes when you stop, think, and protect what matters most, before it's too late. 4. Loss of personal freedom. At first, the idea of remarriage can sound comforting. Someone to talk to, eat with, and share the quiet moments. But many seniors quickly discover that with remarriage comes something few talk about openly: the loss of personal freedom. After decades of caregiving, raising children, working hard, and honoring commitments, many people over 70 finally begin to reclaim something sacred: independence. You get to eat what you want, sleep when you like, watch your favorite shows, spend time with your grandkids, pray, walk, or travel at your own pace. No one is asking you where you've been, when you're coming home, or whether the dinner is ready. For the first time in years, you get to breathe on your own terms. But remarriage, even with the kindest partner, inevitably brings back a level of shared decision-making. And often it means compromise, sometimes small, sometimes life-changing.
Your daily routines might shift.
Your finances might be joined or influenced. You may need to coordinate plans, give explanations, or ask for input where you once didn't. Even things like rearranging furniture, planning holidays, or deciding who visits when, can become points of negotiation or even quiet resentment. For some seniors, that structure and companionship is comforting. But for others, especially those who've finally found peace in their own rhythm, it can feel suffocating. Then there's the emotional freedom. If you've already loved deeply, mourned a spouse, and rebuilt your life, remarrying might reopen emotional wounds you thought were healed. You may feel pressure to compare, to adjust, or even to suppress old memories so your new partner doesn't feel second best. And in doing so, you may slowly lose touch with who you were before. One woman named Eileen, age 78, put it like this. I didn't realize how much freedom I'd given up until I couldn't spend a whole day with my sister without checking in. I love my new husband, but I miss the freedom to be fully myself.
So before you remarry, ask yourself, am I ready to give up full control over my space and time?
Am I willing to share decision-making again? And most importantly, do I feel free in this relationship, or obligated? Because the greatest gift in your later years is the ability to live life on your own terms. And if remarriage takes that away, even in small doses, it may not be the joy you hoped for. Remarriage after 70 isn't wrong, but it's often far more complex than it seems. It can bring joy, yes, but also unexpected burdens, legal entanglements, health demands, and the quiet erosion of freedom. If you're considering remarriage, do so with open eyes, not just an open heart. And remember, you deserve peace, clarity, and health in this season of life. Choose wisely.